What's up, YouTube? It's your friendly neighborhood gamer, your host, Coach King, and welcome to Legends and Dice Cafe, where we learn about tabletop RPGs from old school to modern. Tips, tricks, reviews, and tons of solo gameplay. Back with my weekly video, like I do every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Like I said in my last video, I have a bunch of D&D books that I haven't even taken the time out to look through, and I'm just starting to look through because now I've started to DM. So now I'm trying to put some of those books to use, or that money that was spent to good use. Now, I'm not going to go in depth with this book. I'm just going to give you the gist of what you get when you purchase Xanathar's Guide. Or if you haven't and you haven't looked through it, check out my review and see if it's even worth looking through in the first place. All right, so make sure you hit that like button and let's get into it. All right, so let's open it up. Xanathar's Guide to Everything. One of the first things that pops out is the cover. I think the cover art is pretty dope. So far, the main thing that I've honestly looked through this for was as far as the random name chart. I did take some time to go through the book over the past couple weeks. What stuck out to me the most were the Dungeon Master tools. So let's get into it. Before we do that, we know that Xanathar's Guide comes with lots of character options, lots of subclasses. Again, we're not going to get into all of the many different subclasses that come in here, but as a player, they're pretty cool to look through. One of the things that I honestly like about the D&D books is the using this book section. Okay, reading that part will help you to get the right books. So I think that's a pretty cool section that they have in all of the books. And I like this part right here, the character options, where it actually breaks it down and tells you. I like the way that it's set up right here. Character options, where you can just glance out this one page and see the class, the subclass, as well as the description. So I think that's really cool without having to flip through the book and look through each individual section and stuff like that. Gives you a nice description right here. It's got some pretty cool subclasses, and it also has some cool stuff in here to flesh out more of your character, flesh out more details. Random charts as far as your birthplace goes, your family's lifestyle, which is pretty cool. Different tables for your backgrounds as well. So it's got some pretty cool options in here. Life events. I'm always a big fan of random tables. And then it has some special feats in here. This section introduces a collection of special feats that allow you to explore your character's race further. But one of my favorite parts and one of my favorite sections of Xanathar's Guide to Everything, as well as Tasha's Cauldron, is the Dungeon Master's tools. I'm going to show you a few of the sections I thought were pretty cool. You've got spellcasting, extra spellcasting rules. They kind of expand on the rules already in the player's handbook. I like this part right here, encounter building. This section introduces new guidelines on building encounters for an adventure. They are alternative rules, of course, to create encounters in Chapter 3 in the Dungeon Master Guide. I like this section right here. It helps you set up the challenge rating when it comes to different levels, different amount of PCs, which I think is pretty cool, especially as a new DM, having to kind of adjust the encounter to fit the amount of players that are actually or who have actually shown up for the game. And one of my favorite parts about this book are the random encounters. I've so far added a few random encounters into my current game that I'm running from this book. I'm going to show you another cool book where I would honestly prefer to use as far as random encounters goes. But since we're reviewing Xanathar's Guide, let's continue forward. So what I like about this is it has different random encounters that you can throw out. It even has it sectioned out as far as levels, not only as far as levels, but as far as environments. Like you've got Arctic, coastal, and as you see, you've got levels 1 through 4, then you got 5 to 10, and then 11 to 16, and then 17 to 20. So as long as your character in that 1 to 20 area, you've definitely got it has you covered as far as the encounters goes and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. And you've got coastal, you've got desert, forest, grassland, hill encounters, mountain encounters, swamp, underdark, underwater. Now I'm really interested in not only playing, but running an underwater adventure. So maybe we can do that in our solo play, doing an underwater adventure, possibly using maybe White Box or Basic Fantasy, or one of my favorites, Dragonbane. Leave a comment below if you have any ideas on which system you would prefer to see me use for an underwater adventure. And currently, I am getting ready to run my first session in Dragon Heist. So I picked this table right here, Urban Encounters, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to throw in, just in case any of the players are watching. But I was going to, maybe I should cover that section up. I was going to use a few encounters on here. I like this part right here as well, Traps Revisited, and it teaches you how to do simple traps, running simple traps. It gives you an example of simple traps, and then it has a section as far as designing simple traps as well, which I'm always a big fan of. Then, of course, not only has simple, but it also has complex traps. And then, of course, it has a section for your downtime. It has example of downtime activities. And I like this section right here, the awarding magic items. Magic items are prized by D&D adventurers of all sorts and are often the main reward in adventure. This section expands on rules from the Dungeon Master Guide, offering you an alternative way of determining which magic items end up in a character's possession by adding a collection of common magic items to the game. And then, of course, it has a pretty cool list of common magic items, which as far as treasure goes, I've added a few of these into my current campaign. And then you've got your magic item tables, and it has some new magic items. You know, the Dungeon Master Guide has tons of them, so I haven't really gotten through the Dungeon Master Guide, so I probably won't pick up Xanathar's Guide for much. And then, of course, it has the new spells in here as well, which we won't get into. Again, I just wanted to show you the gist of what you'll be getting if you were to purchase Xanathar's Guide, or if you haven't and you haven't looked through it. This should let you know whether it's even worth picking up off of your shelf. Of course, the spell descriptions. And another section which I thought was pretty cool is character names. I have used these in some of my solo play just to roll up random names. It also has different clans, like for your Dragonborn. And I like that it has a variety of different types of names in here. For instance, like for your human names, you've got Arabic names, you've got Chinese, Egyptian, Celtic, English, French, German, Greek, Indian, Japanese. I think it's pretty cool. It has such a nice variety. Who would want to purchase a book just for a random name chart? But again, if you have it, it's pretty cool. So it's got a nice variety of different types of names. I would like to show you the book that I enjoy using for random encounters. Is the Game Master's Book of Random Encounters. I have a few of these Game Master's books, and they are really, really, really cool. And one of these days, one of these weeks, I'm probably going to definitely review these books. They are really, really cool. Not only are they really, really cool to use in a campaign, but they are also really cool to use in solo play because they are a bunch of random charts. Not only are they random charts, but each of these books come with one-shots inside of them as well. These are all really great books. I'm using this in my current campaign and this as well. So again, stay tuned because one of these weeks I'll be reviewing probably in one video, 1 to 2 of these books. And I have another one of these books, and this one coming in is about dragons. So yeah, definitely. Random encounters, non-player characters, traps, puzzles, and dungeons. And he has a few other books as well. But yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like, make sure you comment and subscribe. And make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any of the cool content that I drop weekly. Make sure you stay tuned for next week when I'll be reviewing Dungeon Crawl Classics. And stay tuned because I haven't forgotten, I'll be picking back up in my Dragonbane solo as well as my Cairn solo. And as always, I hope you guys have a super, super fantastic weekend. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out to watch the video. And as always, I'll see you guys same time next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday. Peace.